This is the Mental Mettle Podcast, and I am your host, Coach Thomann. I'm a former athlete, teacher, coach, and athletic director that switched careers after surviving cancer and a stroke in the fall of 2020. But I'm also a dad of a son and a daughter that were successful high school athletes that went on to college. Now I use that experience along with my ICF coaching certification when helping teams, coaches, and athletes from all over the country. Each week, I will pose a specific question that will help coaches of all types better understand mental toughness. In the Mental Mettle Podcast, coaches will learn to help their athletes overcome adversity without being the adversity they need to overcome. Mettle is a person's ability to face adversity in a spirited and resilient manner. It is a great skill to have for athletics and for life, but it is not something we are born with. If you want it, you have to forge your mettle. And if you listen to the Mental Mettle Podcast, you already know that, but not everybody else does yet. So help me out by ordering and wearing some sweet The Mental Mettle Podcast gear. We've got short sleeve tees, long sleeve tees, and some super comfortable hoodies. Order online today and you can have your gear in no time. But the best part is that every order helps support the show and helps me spread the message that mental toughness is a trait that can and should be built. So find the link in the show notes, order your gear, and start showing that you know how to forge your mettle. Hey, metalheads. It's Coach Thomann back with another episode of the Mental Mettle Podcast. As always, thanks for listening, liking, sharing, starting to get some really good numbers on the podcast, nearing some milestones on the number of downloads and stuff. And that's really exciting to have. So keep sharing, keep liking, and I'll just keep putting the content out there, and hopefully it's enjoyable. Hopefully you like it. Send me a message, send me an email, send me some encouragement, send me something, a guest you want to hear, or something you want me to talk about. I am all ears. I want to hear about it. I want to know about it. So I love some input, love all these things. I've been doing some speaking, some professional development lately at some schools, and that's fantastic. And I was doing one recently at a school and realized how helpful it is for me to have this podcast. It's not just my experiences, but I talk to so many coaches and do this professional development with other coaches. I can use the things I've learned from all these other coaches that I get to talk to. And it's really useful, really helpful. So it's just helps me be a better presenter, helps me be a better coach, and just provide better services, better professional development for different coaches. So just the more people I get to talk to, the more I get to lean into this, the more experience I get, the more knowledge I get in it. And I really enjoy that. So I want to get into, I'm going to do another 3-part series here. I've done some more like series before. This one's going to be really fun, really interesting. I'm going to do a 3-part series here where my guests are all offensive linemen, football offensive linemen. And it's not like I sought that out. It just kind of happened. For whatever reason, I've been coaching now for around 3 years, doing the professional coaching for athletes and other things for about 3 years now. And in that time, I counted up, I've worked with 6 different offensive linemen, probably more than any other position that I've worked with. And I don't know how that happened. It just has. And it made me realize I should do a series talking through offensive linemen, because it does a couple things when we talk to offensive linemen. First of all, in all of sports, it's harder to find a position that's more looked at as the big, tough meathead type guy, right? Just get out there and pound and just destroy everybody, right? And there's a little bit to that. It's certainly a tough position. But the fact that I'm able to talk to these offensive linemen about mentality and about well-being and their emotional state and their mental state while playing one of the toughest positions in all of sports, I find that awesome. I love it. It really leans into my business and what I'm trying to do, in which I try to forge metal. And metal, as you've heard me say before, if you listen at all, is that metal is a person's ability to face adversity in a spirited and resilient manner. And that spirited word is very important. It has to be done positively and like with good, positive well-being. It's not just surviving. It's not just getting through things. It's doing things that are tough, getting through adversity, that are things that are really hard, but doing it with good, positive emotions. And that's what I try to preach. That's what I try to teach, is that toughness and well-being are not mutually exclusive things. They should be together. You should be able to face adversity and do really hard things, but also enjoy it, have fun, and feel good about yourself. Some of the things that old school coaching and old school sports was like, we just had to like be hard on kids and be rough on kids, and we have to really beat ourselves up to get anywhere and be our own worst enemy. And I'm trying to get away from that, which anytime I talk about that, it's like, well, it just means you're not being tough. And I'm telling you, no, you can be tough and you can have good, positive well-being. So I love talking to offensive linemen here, at least the ones that I've worked with, because they're such great examples of that. And so the 3-part series, there's 3 different offensive linemen I'm going to talk to. The first one is Casey Thomann, who's my nephew, and you'll hear all about him in this episode. Great kid. He's a 3-star recruit. He's been offered to Illinois, Iowa, Iowa State, Northwestern. He's done visits all over the country, SEC schools, Big Ten schools, everything. So he's way up there. He's a really good kid, giant of a kid, if you want to call him a kid, at 6'7", 315, something like that. He's a big kid, but a great kid. And he's playing, and you're going to hear about this. He's playing for the Olney Tigers this year, who have gone from, they were 0-9 last year, and now they are 7-0. And in his interview, you're going to hear say they're 6-0 since that interview. And recording this, they won another game. And then also, before this comes out, they're probably going to have another game. They're playing Casey Westfield, which is an undefeated team. So I'm going to I'm going to head to Olney this Friday and catch this. And this is coming out on Monday. So who knows? Hopefully by then they'll be 8-0. That's the plan anyway, but it's going to be a very tough game. But anyway, he's going to be my first interview here. The next week, I'm talking to JJ Guedet. If you listen to this podcast, he was one of my very first interviews, but he's got a different story to tell now and really good stuff. At the time, he was playing for Minnesota, and he played Minnesota. He was there for something like 5 years, something like that, with red shirts and injury stuff and like that. He's got another year of eligibility left, and he's playing at ISU now. And that's a really cool story because he had a lot of struggles at Minnesota through injuries and just being young and not getting to play and just situational stuff, and him getting to transfer and getting through all of that and being in such a positive place like he is right now is a really good story. And he's a kid that I've coached before as his I've done some coaching, some of the mental coaching with Casey, and I have with JJ as well. So we're going to talk about that with both of them. And then my third one, so I'm talking to a high school offensive lineman, and then JJ being a college offensive lineman. And then in 2 weeks, so the third part of the series, I'm going to talk to Jack Cornell, who is the head coach at Quincy Notre Dame. And he was an Illini, played for Ron Zook at Illinois, and then he played a couple years professionally, including he's got a Super Bowl ring with the Baltimore Ravens, and now he's a coach. So we're going, the progression of an offensive lineman from high school to college to pros, now a coach. And it's interesting to see that. You're going to see the beards. the quintessential offensive lineman beards grow into the. I just find that funny. You're going to see that in Casey not having one at all, just being a real young baby faced kid, and then JJ, who's a pretty big dude with a nice solid beard, and then you got Jack Cornell. He's just older, more grizzled vet. I love that, and it just, again, it leans into that idea that I want about the toughness, but also being focused on well-being and emotionally just there and available, and being in touch with your emotions. And one of the things that I want you to notice when I'm talking to Casey here, so I have done some of the professional mental coaching with Casey, and it is it's going to be really here. He does a phenomenal job of talking about it. And I want you to understand that when I started working with Casey, one of the misnomers I get about this coaching is people get a hold of me or reference to somebody once they're like, well, when we're struggling, we'll give you a call, or, well, if things don't get better, we'll give you a call, or if we're really having issues, we'll give you a call. When I started working with Casey, there was nothing wrong with that kid. He's a phenomenal kid, great kid, was doing really well. But we just decided to do some coaching with him because it's not about you having something wrong with you. It's about what you can be better at and how you can work on. A couple of the things that he talks about that I want you to notice when he talks about embodiment and how I helped him learn how to tap into his physical emotions and the good and the bad, as to have better recognition of the feelings he's having and how he can get out of the negative feelings, and how to lean into and appreciate the positive feelings, all in the idea of gaining confidence. That's something we're going to talk about with that embodiment, which is a really cool thing that I do with coaching. And the second part he talks about even more is the visualization, and how I help him learn how to visualize situations to help ease anxiety and make things a little bit less stressful when we get into it. He talks about both of those, and he does a really, really good job of explaining it. Not only that, but he talks about how these are tools that I taught him. It's been several months, and he's still using and applying them to his grind right now. So I taught him this stuff whenever he wasn't struggling, but the team was struggling. They were 0-9 last year, and now this year, like I said, they're 7-0. And he, you'll hear him say he attributes a lot of that to mentality. I'm not saying it was all something I did, but I know, and he will tell you that it helped him. He's one of the leaders of the team. At the very best I can say is I certainly didn't make things worse. Things have definitely gotten better for him, and he enjoys the tools that I've helped him, that he's learned, and he uses them. And I dare say he's planning on using them when he gets into college, playing Division I, and who knows. It is just what we're doing here with this mental coaching is just giving tools and giving kids an opportunity to change their mindset and change the way that they think around their game and the way they're playing and how things are going to go. They feel so much more in control of the outcome and what they're looking for, and just understanding, and it helps them ease that anxiety, ease that pressure that we have on kids when they're playing sports. And Casey is just a phenomenal example of how that can help any athlete. You don't have to be in a bad way to need this. So yeah, I mean, I'm having him on here because he's such a great example, and I want this to be something that parents, that athletes see, that, hey, Casey is a 3-star recruit, phenomenal athlete, very successful, and he's more than happy to talk to somebody like me to get better at it. So it doesn't really matter where you are in your athletic journey, your ability, your skill, like where you are, this stuff can help. And you'll hear this. He did a great job in the interview, and I can't wait for you to hear it. So without further ado, my nephew, 3-star recruit for the Olney Tigers, offensive lineman, one of 3, Casey Thomann.
Parents, is your athlete ready for the upcoming sports season? They might have the strength, the speed, and the skills, but without confidence, they could still struggle when the game is online. Skill and strength are great, they're necessary, but they're not used to their full potential without the right mentality. Confidence is key. It's the key to unlocking that full potential. And at Mental Mettle Coaching, I offer personalized sessions designed to build the confidence your athlete needs for a successful season. My proven techniques empower them to perform under pressure, both on the field and in life. Don't let a lack of confidence hold them back. Book a free session today and discover the power of confidence. Visit the website and get started on the journey to a more confident and successful athlete with Mental Mettle Coaching.
And welcome back to the Mental Mettle Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Matt Thomann, and I'm here with my guest and nephew. I'll just put that right out of the gate. Casey Thomann. You're not just on here because you're my nephew. Like, I'm not playing that kind of nepotism here, but I've got Casey on here for a couple reasons. We're going to talk about those. One, Casey's a 3-star recruit, getting a lot of offers, playing offensive line for Olney Tigers, and the reason and also Olney, who he's playing for, is a great success story right now in their football season, which is fantastic. And also in the last year or so, I've actually done some of the coaching work that I do with Casey. So we're going to be able to talk about all those things and hopefully how they connect and just all those things. And I'm excited for the conversation. But first, thanks for being on and welcome to the show, Casey.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Oh, you bet, man. So let's start kind of in order the things that I talk about right now. I've been following your schedule. I talked to your dad quite a bit about where you guys are going and everything that's going on. And I don't know how you're having an exceptional year so far, but at the same time, you're getting recruited because football season is the same as it is for college and high school. It's the same time. So you're going to all these games, but you're playing your games. And I don't know, how do you stay grounded and centered on accomplishing what you want to do, but also getting, you go somewhere every weekend for a game, which is great, but how do you stay centered and grounded on that?
So really, I stay focused on my high school and our team success first of all. That's like my main priority. Like, I took a visit to Iowa and I talked to their O-line coach for a little bit. And his name is Coach Barnett, and he basically said all the visits and the text messages and the calls and everything, they're all like Christmas presents, and you can't treat them like they're some serious things. You got to treat them like they're Christmas presents and evaluate. And so I've always had that in my mind. That was back when I wasn't getting recruited as much, but I am more now. And really, I try not to worry about the visits and everything. I just try and go and have a good time and evaluate the coaches and really just build relationships. And I feel like when it starts getting stressful and when I try and key in all the visits will be more in the summer, like May and June. But right now I'm just having fun with it. It's like many vacations, I'm going to Notre Dame this weekend and I get to see them play Stanford. That's going to be a vacation in itself. So,
it is like, you got to stop and be like, how awesome that is, because it is a vacation for some. There's somebody there at the game that has probably saved up all kinds of money and everything else just to go watch that game. And you're just it's pretty cool. And I love that you throw out there Coach Barnett right off the bat, right there. Go Big Blue, Coach Barnett. I went to college with him. A great guy. And I think it's a good, it's really cool for him to tell you things like that rather than just recruit you, but to help you with the process, which I think is good.
Yeah, it's really good. All the coaches that I've been talking to have been really good about that and not pressuring and stuff. And I just try and treat it as something that's like a good thing that I don't have to worry about yet. Like today, just in class, I was getting text messages from Tennessee's offensive line coach, and I mean, it's not stressful. I was just having a conversation with them. Like, you can't take things too serious right now. You have to wait until you're actually going to finalize a decision. That's whenever you have to really dig deep and think about stuff. But right now, it's just all Christmas presents and having fun.
That's a little surreal though, right?
Yeah.
Like when you stop and think about it, the fact that you're sitting at you're in Olney there, just at school, and you're trying to do some stuff. Hopefully, it was study hall, and you weren't
Yeah.
like not. Hope you're paying attention to the class, right?
Yeah.
School's important. School's important, kids.
Yep.
But the fact that you're in there having that conversation with about the UT, man, which is
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's just out of the blue, right?
Oh, just out of the blue. I just got done with the history test, and I look at my phone, and it's that coach has just texted me there on the spot.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like I figured I've been talking to you and I know that you're doing really well this year and it's not stressing you out, which means you had to have some sort of system on staying grounded because if you don't,
Yeah.
it's
If you don't, it all just crashes and falls, and everything is just making you so worrisome. But you really just have to relax, and all the visits, they're just like mini vacations, and it's just having fun right now. And you evaluate and you focus on everything later. That's the way I'm taking it.
yeah, I think it's good. But so what do you still like when you take on these visits? What do you look for? Like you've been to several places. I know you've been offered at Illinois, Iowa, Northwestern, Iowa State, so, but what do you know? Like, what do you notice? You don't have to tell me like which one's your favorite or you don't like, but what do you notice? What stands out that's going to draw you what do you like? What are you liking?
So some of the main things I've looked for is how well of a relationship I'm going to have with my O-line coach in that room. And I really try like pregame if I go on these game day visits, I try and make myself walk over to the offensive line on the pregame and stuff. I try to see how the offensive lineman coach is like coach and everything. And then when I get those visits where it's not as hectic and game day, I try to really have a good conversation with the offensive line coach because he's going to be the guy I'm around 24/7. The strength coach and the assistant coaches I'm going to be around 24/7. So the best relationship I can build with those coaches, and I want to make sure I build a relationship and they stay there. I want to make sure it's like a stable coaching foundation because if I have this great relationship with this guy and then he gets up and leaves, I mean, I'm not a guy that's going to want to transfer all over the country. I'm going to pick a school and I want to stay there for as long as I can. So, yeah, just stable of the coaching staff and really the best relationship I can build with those coaches is because those are my friends and the guys I'm going to be around 24/7.
Yeah, no, it's a great way to be looking for. And it's a huge decision that you're trying to make off just a couple visits though. That's it's tough.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But that's why them texting me and calling me and having those conversations over and over again. Like I was on the phone with Coach Braun of Northwestern, their head coach, and he's a great guy. And just building those relationships are very meaningful. And the more secure that you can feel whenever you're talking to guys really pushes those decisions.
Yeah. So and you mentioned you're kind of gonna. I know that you're really waiting for a little bit to make that decision so you can actually focus on it. Is that what's your time frame moving forward?
So just gonna be taking visits all throughout the rest of football season, maybe beginning basketball a little bit, but then basketball, I'm just straight basketball. I'm not really. It's basketball's that sport in that time frame. So I might go to one or two game days and go to a basketball game or something, but I'm not gonna go on a bunch of visits from basketball. And then when I get to the summer and track, if there's coaches that want me going to visits, like to see the facility and everything and talk to the coaches, that's when I would. And I'd probably be making my decision around May or June, sometime around there in the summer.
But yeah, and you got some time. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's you brought up the fact that you are also a three sport athlete, right?
Yep.
I know that's important to you, but why is that? Like it could be easy for you to say, you know what, I'm just going to do football now. But I know that's something you want to stick with. Why is that important to you?
To be honest, if I don't have something that I'm doing, I'm going to get burnt out on that one sport, or I'm going to get bored. So during basketball season, I played basketball my life, and I love playing basketball. And also, Coach Flanagan is a great coach, and he really is going to get me prepared for the next level in college coaching. Like the way he coaches it the mental toughness that he brings with his coaching style and the way he does everything, that will get me ready for the next level. And then track and field, it's completely different because it's all by yourself, and that's mental, just strength by yourself, like corrections by yourself, just you spinning in a circle. I mean, it's all by yourself. And I love track. I've been doing it since middle school. Basketball I've been doing since I was 5. I mean, I just love playing those different sports, and I want to miss it whenever I get out of high school. So there's no point in leaving it just to focus on one.
No, it's a good point, and I love that you're picking out what is so beneficial of each one and how that can. And you're right on the money, right? Like I know Coach Flanagan. I've had him on the podcast. I've known Coach Flanagan for years. Like, yeah, he's going to make you tougher. But the idea that you are doing track because it's a solo sport, so it's like there's nobody else to blame. It's all you.
Yeah,
it's the mentality. And that's a great. It's beautiful that you're actually thinking about those things and how it's helping you, and that's got to be helpful. Especially when it's. I mean, you could spend all winter. I'm sure all these schools that want you to come play football would just let you come to all these basketball games and just watch and right. But you're not gonna. So it'd be easy to just want to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are kids that say, like, I'm gonna go focus on the sport. I'm gonna go focus on this. Okay, but if the sport that you're leaving, you're never gonna be able to play it again. I mean, not like organized, and you won't get the crowd section, you won't get the cheerleaders, you won't get the band. I mean, you're not going to have all that. And the track meets, you're not going to have a bunch of kids from random schools come over, just talk and throw a shot and disc. It's not the same. So it's not the improvement in that sport that you're going to be recruited in. It's not worth missing those memories because those coaches are talking to you. They're already interested in you. They're already trying to build that relationship. There's no point because whenever you get to college as an offensive lineman, you'll most likely redshirt freshman year. You won't play for another year. And if you play the next year, you're pretty lucky. So they have 2.5, 3 years to develop you. If they can't develop you in that amount of time, then it's hard for you to even play. So, the memories are so much more important to me.
I love that. It's a great answer. And I'm guessing that they kind of want you to keep playing your sports for now.
Absolutely. I mean, every coach I talk to, they're really happy about being a 3-sport athlete, and every sport has their different little muscles, and you're training all those muscles in every sport, whether it's spinning and discus or shot put or post moves in basketball. I mean, everything has its little benefits.
Parents of athletes know that confidence and belief are fundamental for success. We want them to play without fear and without anxiety, but once those negative thoughts take over, it can derail years of work. Turning that anxiety into belief is similar to building strength and speed. It just takes intentional effort over time. Mental Mettle Coaching provides the individual drills needed to build the positive mindset necessary for success on the court and in life. Contact today to schedule a free coaching session and start building mental toughness in your athlete.
Coaches, do you dream of guiding mentally tough athletes towards a championship? Kids that are resilient, persistent, and unshaken by setbacks. Well, in today's world, those athletes aren't born. They have to be developed. Many athletes face significant challenges and risk burnout. So how do we foster that mental toughness without overwhelming them? Well, introducing the Ember to Inferno program, Building Mentally Tough Athletes. This series is designed specifically for coaches, offering a deep dive into your own journey of mental toughness and equipping you with practical tools to build confidence and belief in your athletes. Rather than just simply adding more adversity to their life, we focus on creating a strong foundation for mental resilience. You'll learn how to transform a spark of motivation into a blazing fire of toughness using techniques that address challenges like social media pressures, athletic stress, and trauma. Don't just wish for mentally tough athletes, build them. Join the Ember to Inferno program today and ignite the potential in your athletes. For more information, contact me, Coach Thomann, at Mental Mettle Coaching. Yeah, that's great. I love that you're hearing that. I love that you're doing that, and I love that you've seen all that. I want to talk a little bit about, the transformation. You're playing for the Olney Tigers right
Yep.
now, and just there's couple different ways we could tell this story. But last year, you were on a football team as a sophomore, playing on a team, and you guys went 0-9.
Didn't win a game. Yep.
Did not win a game.
No.
And I know that from your athletic history, it's like you've been on some really good teams.
Yeah,
I mean, you won a state championship in basketball in junior high,
Yep.
and just you've been on good teams. To then all of a sudden, at the same time you're starting to get recruited, you're on a team that is 0-9.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
How did you handle that?
It was tough at the beginning, you know, and that sophomore season. I mean, 8th grade state championship basketball, went undefeated. Won state and shot put in 8th grade. 7th grade we lost one game in basketball. 6th grade we went undefeated. I mean, our baseball teams and the travel ball when I was younger were always good. I'm not used to losing, and that was a real struggle for me throughout that year. I mean, I was also a team captain as a sophomore too, trying to lead the team as a guy that was only second year in high school and winning lists. It was tough, but you know, being able to bring all those losses that we felt throughout the summer, I mean, it made our whole team work twice as hard. That team that we went 0-9 with, we had maybe 2 seniors that were actually playing. So everyone was fired up for this season. Everyone has worked their butts off every single time they could. And I was texting with the coach the other day about how did you guys transform into this new team? And I blatantly said, like, we don't have the fear like we did last year. Like, we don't care. We're going to go win every game that we can. And we went into Mount Carmel last week, which
we haven't. I know this, but we haven't said this. We kind of jumped ahead. You were 0-9 this year, 0-9 last year, and this year, what are you now? 6-0.
6-0.
You went from 0-9 to 6-0. Like, and I'm sure that you have. I mean, you got 3 more games in the regular season. I'm sure that you want to win those. I'm sure your goal is to go 0-9 to 9-0, and you just never know how that's going to go. But I just needed to put that out there. This is what we're talking about when we're talking about that transformation. Like, it's as much of a transformation as you can get. It doesn't get like this is a huge turnaround. And you were talking about, and you just went into Mount Carmel, which is historically one of the hardest places to play in all of Southern Illinois. Yeah,
I mean the fans are electric there. I mean, just the way the stadium is built. I mean, it's the field in this massive, like 200-foot hill with stands that are just plumb full, and we went in there without any fear, really. I mean, just the locker room and all the coaches and all the guys were ready to play that game. And so there's a thing where they walk down their hill pregame, and people have talked on podcasts and stuff about it. Like, the opposing team goes in the locker room because they're worried that their kids are going to get scared watching them walk down the hill. And we told the coaches we were going to stand on their field and watch them walk down the hill. So we ran out and everything. We watched them walk down the hill without any fear, and we were all ready to go. And the way that we really united as one this year, it's something that really special and really special for Olney Tiger football.
Oh, it's easy for you to say, hey, we just decided to come in and not have any fear. But like, that's, I still don't understand. Like, it's one thing to just say it, but you're actually able to do it. Like, what is it? The coaching staff? Is it you guys? Is it a combination? Like, what was able in that off season to help you guys kind of turn things around?
So last year with our losing season, we had a quarterback not play the whole year due to hip injury. We had one of our best wide receivers out because of a broken collarbone in the second game. So those 2 guys coming back, and our second-year coach, Coach Carmody, him coming back, and we also had a defensive coordinator come in that had not coached previous year that we all know and has coaches forever. And then we had another coach that came in, offensive coordinator that we all love, and it's really just a great group of guys with the coaching staff and the players, and the way that we really united as one throughout the summer and all throughout. I mean, just there has been like no fighting amongst each other. We've been a great group of guys. we've just all been so focused and dedicated toward our one goal is to get into playoffs, and not only get into playoffs, we want to win multiple games in Class 4A.
Yeah, which is a huge step for you guys. Just historically for Olney football would be fantastic for all you guys. And I just love that idea that it's not a whole huge difference other than just some belief in yourself and being like, oh, we're just gonna go do it as a team and just go do it. It really speaks a lot to how important having the right mentality is.
Yeah. I'd say at least 80 or 90% of this is just our mentality and how much we want to win and how much we're willing to give up to win. Just everyone has been so dedicated. It's really something.
Yeah, and it may be hopefully by the time this may be a couple weeks before I get this produced and put it out there, and hopefully by the time this is out there, you've been able to pull off the undefeated seeded, the defeated to the undefeated. I'm hoping that that's what you do. Obviously, just what a great story. And I'm hoping, and you're just a junior, so you got another year at high school to do that as well. Just fun to. It's just a really fun story, and you said that. Is it something that some of the coaches that are recruiting you have picked up on a little bit?
Yeah, some of the coaches have been asking me, like, how did you guys do this? Because no matter what level you're at, that is extremely hard to do. And especially us, I mean, we didn't gain any kids and we didn't really lose any. I mean, we lost a really good running back at last year, and we lost a key defensive player last year, but those are the only two guys that we really lost. Everyone is coming back, and we all just gathered around and we knew what we needed to accomplish, and we've worked the hardest we ever have all throughout the summer, and it's been a great time.
Yeah,
and we definitely can't give up now. There's 3 more teams on our conference that they all want our number. Because we're the biggest school in the conference for sure, not by much, but we are, and they see that O on our chest, and they want to beat us with everything in them, and they want to beat the big school, and that's what our coaches have been preaching, and that's reality. So we just definitely have to keep our heads down and keep on pushing through.
Oh, I mean, the more wins you have, the more they're really going to do that too, right?
Yep.
All the way up to the end. Yeah.
Yep.
There was one game recently. It had to be cool. And I want you to just be able to tell the story and what it was like. I know that. So your brother Jack got to come in and get a start because of an injury, and he's just a freshman. Yep. What's it mean to you to have him get that start and play on the and he played center for you, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So to be on the offensive line with your brother, like leading, teaching, all that stuff.
I mean, it's awesome. I mean, he was definitely a little nervous at the game and stuff, but I mean, I don't know who wouldn't. Center is one of the hardest positions in football, period. I mean, you have to snap it with precision. You have to know exactly what's going on. And you're not always have this one guy that you're blocking. You have to read everything, and it's a hard position to play. And I'm just really proud of him on how he really stepped up to the occasion. I mean, our center got out during practice, I think maybe 2 days before the game, so with a concussion. So Jack only had about one really good practice to gear up and get ready for it. I mean, I don't even think he had a practice because we weren't for sure. So it was literally that Friday during school. I saw him, and me and our online coach are the ones that told him that he's going to have to start. And it was just a surreal moment. We're just being able to play with him and stuff. I mean, that's how next year's going to be. He's going to be center, and I'm probably going to be right tackle again. But being able to get a little preview of that this year, I mean, it's awesome. And football has never really been a Thomann sport. I think you could back me up on that.
Yeah. No, it's fun to listen to you play football and see all this, and just because that's not it's just not what we do. I mean, basketball,
we've always been basketball.
Basketball.
And, me and my brother being able to lead a different way throughout our family, and me and him both having the build for football, obviously, and both of us trying something different, and we're both succeeding in it very well, and it just makes me really happy the way that me and him have gone through a different sport and succeeded and are paving our own way.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. It's fun to watch.
let's talk a little bit about. I started working with you and doing some of this mental coaching with you a little. It's been a little bit a year ago. I think
Yeah.
we did a lot of it while you were getting your butt kicked.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
during that 09 season. I want you to just tell a little bit about because it's been a little bit since we've done it. I'm just kind of
Yeah.
what stuck with you, what you remembered, what you enjoyed from it, and what how it's helped you.
One of the things I remember is one of the first times I met with you. We went through the feeling of whenever I'm excited or a big play just happened, and like how I would express that, like like physically what I would do to express that, like what animal I'd be, and just being able to like to harness like that feeling and like being able to like understand what that is and being able to keep that going on. And another time I remember is during track season leading up to state. We did a lot of visioning what was going to happen, and you talked me through it, and I'd sit with my eyes closed and listen. And I really did think that helped because I was able to envision myself throwing shot put and throwing it well and having my form, because my form is probably the best it has been at state. And I threw very well, and just being able to have that confidence and being able to perform well because I was able to envision what I planned on doing. I mean, that was just great.
It's there's this thing that like and we talked about this, that your body, if it's already something you kind of know how to do, right? Like like throw a discus or shoot a free throw or something like that.
Yeah.
You can get just as much practice from closing your eyes and taking yourself through it because your body already knows that. And when you throw the discus in your mind or you shoot a free throw in your mind, it can be perfect every time.
Yep.
Right. And it's a weird way to build confidence and actually practice that without practicing it.
Yeah.
And it's I know that if you've never done it, it can seem like
It seemed like, what am
nonsense.
I doing? But yeah.
It seems like nonsense, but the visualization stuff is real. It really helps. So, and I liked what you said about about noticing how you feel in big moments and that embodiment. And just, I think that a lot of times big tough guys, we tend to not tune into our emotions and things like this. And part of the coaching process is to be like, no, like tap into that. Like tap into things when they're making you feel bad and noticing that and what we can do to get out of that. But then also to celebrate those positive emotions when you're doing something well and help it build that confidence. Because if you're doing something well and you're not celebrating it and noticing it, you're missing the opportunity to gain confidence.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. You remember talking about that. And I just I love that those are some of the things that you remember. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And for especially football and basketball, I started a routine doing this. I mean, I get on the bus, throw my headphones, and the thing that calms me down about a game is I always close my eyes and take a nap, first of all. But before that, I envision where I'm playing. And I envision the locker room. If I've already been there, I envision the locker room. I envision where I'm playing, how I'm going to enter. I like to know what's going to happen before I do it. So I like to envision just the area that I'm going to be at, whether it's turf, a field, the hardwood, and just that is able to be calming. It gives me confidence. Like, I've been here before. I know what to do. I know how to do it. I just have to go play my best.
Yeah, I love that because we did it for the track season, but now you're applying it to other stuff. And that's one of my favorite part about the coaching that I do is, I'm helping you in a situation, but I'm also helping you learn how to coach yourself.
Yep.
Getting those tools. So I love that. I love that you're still doing that stuff, that you're seeing the benefit from it. And it's fantastic.
Absolutely. And especially like some places I haven't been before, I look it up on Safari and zoom in, like the court I'm going to be playing on or the field, and just to like, okay, this is there, this is there, this is our locker rooms, and just being able to envision where everything's at, and not anything to do with the game, but just the area where I'm going to be at. That calms me so much, and that helps me pregame. And yeah, it's just something that's always helped me.
Well, I think when you're talking about helping you calm yourself down and do that, it's easy for somebody to just see a really good athlete and you like, and see that and think, oh, well, he probably doesn't struggle with anything like that at all. And
Yeah.
it's just not the case.
Yeah, no, I mean, everybody has. I mean, if it's not stress, it's anxiety. If it's not anxiety, then it's overthinking. I mean, everyone has their little thing that they deal with, and mine is sometimes not knowing what's going to happen or stuff like that. So I just love to envision things before it happens, and that just calms me and soothes me, and then I get hyped up and ready for the game.
I love that you've got a routine now that's gonna come through, and I get a kick out of it that I helped you build that and do that. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, what's I know that you know you're looking at all these D1 scholarships and you got these decisions to make, but like, what's next, or what's the future? What do you want the future to look like?
Like with like college, like
Yeah, what are your goals? Like, what's your goals? What's your aspirations? What are you looking for?
so definitely um, to go 9-0 this season, and I don't just want to go 9-0 this season. I want to win multiple playoff games. I mean, that's something Olney hasn't done in forever, and that'd be extraordinary for a football program and stuff. And um, next, I'm getting pretty close, but I want to be a 1,000-point basketball scorer. I think I have over 500 points right now throughout my freshman sophomore season, but I want to implement myself as a football player, obviously, because that's who I'm getting recruited as. But I also want people to realize, hey, this kid was multi-sport athlete, and he wasn't just there to sit there and scream. I mean, this kid could ball also and play basketball. And then track. I plan on breaking the school records this year for shot put and discus. I was really close last year, and I'm gonna get it this year for sure. And I just want people to know that I wasn't just playing those multi sports just to play it, just for coaches. I want them to know that, hey, this kid was serious about everything. And yeah, so that's one thing that I like to key in on. And another goal is to go to a nice D1 college. Um, not one that's just all football. I want to get a good degree also. I want to have something that sets me up for life after football. But two things that I also pick out when I'm picking a college is playing time and winning. So you don't have to be winning the Natty every year, but I want to go to a school that has a culture of winning and always has a good program and always puts out a good team that's going to get over 500. And I want to be able to know that, hey, if I work my butt off like I know I will, like I know I can, and stick with their program, I'm going to be able to be playing on Saturday nights or Saturday days. And those are two things that I keep in mind when I pick a college. And yeah, those are some goals I got.
Man, you got like that looks everything that you told me. Like, there's not many breaks in that. It sounds like a lot of hard work.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's been my life, a lot of hard work. But there's always been some good times in there in between also.
Well, I don't think it's fair to say that just because it's hard work doesn't mean it's not fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, football practices aren't easy. That's why so many kids quit. Basketball practices aren't easy. That's why so many kids quit. They're not easy. They're not just a cakewalk, but there are some awesome memories and there are some fun times throughout practices, throughout games, throughout the season. Basketball season, we take a trip to Pinckneyville and have a tournament there. We've won it the past, I think, 3 years now, but that's always a great time. There's always memories that you're going to latch on to within sports and throughout life, and the things that you learn throughout sports and the memories that you obtain. It's something that you will never regret.
So be honest, and I agree with all that. I love it. I love your attitude towards it.
And I just got to ask, like, how bad do you want to like catch a touchdown pass, like report in, and like how bad do you want that?
I do really bad. Eighth grade. So I started playing in eighth grade, and I was midway through my eighth grade year, and I lost a lot of weight that eighth grade summer. I was going into the fall. I was probably 240, probably the lightest and biggest I've ever been. And they started me out at tight end, D end, and I caught a couple passes and I caught a touchdown in eighth grade. So for me to catch one in high school, also that would be absolutely amazing. But understandably, it might not happen. But being able to
Yeah.
already have one in the past, that suits me. But if I get one on a Friday night, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that
But yeah,
I just love that. What do they call that? The thick six now. When the
yeah,
yeah, something like that. I mean, it's just be fun to see. It'd be good to see. I just had to ask if that's something like
yeah,
I mean, because I mean, talk to me a little bit about what it feels like to you to be an offensive lineman, because
yeah.
it's not. I tune into your games. You're the kid on Olney that's getting the big recruiting and stuff like that. But your name, you just don't hear your name much.
And yep, yeah. I mean, being an offensive lineman, you're not going to get your name's not going to be on a stat sheet. You're not going to be called out over the intercom unless you're a D lineman getting a tackle, which that's not your job. You're not going to get all the pats on the back unless it's like a coach saying it. You're not going to get people from the stand saying, giving you all the recognition. Now, you might once in a while, but you really have to be able to understand what you're doing and give yourself like the pats on the back and also the linemen also. I mean, right now my front five offensive linemen, we are a great group of guys. I mean, it's me and four other seniors, and we have been spending so much time together, and just the amount of fun that we have on the line together. It's it's unreal. So it's not all about the stat sheets. It's not all about how many people pat you on the back. It's not about all the people that want to take a picture with you after the game because you scored 4 touchdowns. It's about those relationships you obtain with your line. These 4 other guys are amazing and definitely something that I'll never forget for the rest of my life.
No, it's different because it's like that is how it's different than your basketball. Like you do get the points and you're trying to get 1,000, and whenever you're throwing shot and disc, like it's your name is attached to it. But it's
Yeah,
man, when you're in the trenches, it's do your job. You're just supposed to do your job, right?
Yep.
I mean, you're just making everybody else look good, right?
Yep. That's your job. But again, um, but having a relation like I feel like the offensive line always has a great relationship with each other. That's why I want to play college football so bad. It's one of the reasons. I feel like that room will have one of the best relationships because they're not the guys that are going to be getting mad if someone doesn't get the ball thrown to them or someone doesn't get as many carries. Like these guys are all digging deep. They're all in the trenches. They're all doing their job, and they all have to look out for one another. And that's why I feel like our relationship in the offensive line and D line room for my high school team right now. I mean, they're just some of the best friends I've had in a long time, and definitely friendships I'll keep throughout the rest of my life.
Absolutely. And I think it's good that you enjoy the offensive line mentality because you're not playing anywhere else, big guy.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, you are genetically suited for that. So that's kind of that's where you're going to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But one thing I like that our coaches have been doing, they've been keeping track of pancake blocks, which,
Oh,
yeah, I'm
beautiful.
sure everyone knows what that is. But there's nothing like driving a kid back and getting them on their back and laying on top of them for a couple extra seconds. I mean, that that's almost as good as a feeling as getting a touchdown in my book. And just being able to show your pure dominance and then laugh in their face after the play. I mean, it's just awesome. But a lot of times the guys on the other team, their line, they're always great dudes. We always talk to each other before and after the game. I mean, that there's always relationships built in the trenches, whether it's on your team or the opposing team, and they're always great dudes.
Yeah. It's just, I love the mentality. I've been talking to some offensive line. I've worked with several offensive linemen, and I just love the mentality. And they just, just such a team mentality, but it has a lot of individual work to work in a team, and that's just it's what team sports is about. And I think
absolutely,
if you're working on the line, that's you really understand that.
Yeah. You really understand what it's like to be a team and to do the dirty work. Yeah. Yep.
So, all right, we're kind of getting short on time here. What did I miss? Anything I should have asked you that I didn't?
I don't know. We covered quite a bit.
Yeah.
It was good.
Any stories that I need to know? Anything good?
I don't know.
All right.
We'll see.
So you're headed. You got a few visits left. Northwestern.
Yeah.
Going back to Iowa.
I went to Northwestern last week. I'm going to Notre Dame this week, and then I got Indiana, and then I got Iowa, and then I might take one or two in November. Just depends on playoffs and basketball and everything. But yeah, that's the plan.
All right. Well, enjoy every one of them. I love your attitude towards it, and thanks for coming on, Casey, and do your best to finish out the season. I really hope it works out well, and you get that 9-0.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and we absolutely will. Yep.
You bet it. All right. Thanks, Casey.
All right. Thank you. See ya.
Parents, is your athlete ready for the upcoming sports season? They might have the strength, the speed, and the skills, but without confidence, they could still struggle when the game is online. Skill and strength are great. They're necessary, but they're not used to their full potential without the right mentality. Confidence is key. It's the key to unlocking that full potential. And at Mental Mettle Coaching, I offer personalized sessions designed to build the confidence your athlete needs for a successful season. My proven techniques empower them to perform under pressure, both on the field and in life. Don't let a lack of confidence hold them back. Book a free session today and discover the power of confidence. Visit the website and get started on the journey to a more confident and successful athlete with Mental Mettle Coaching.
Mettle is a person's ability to face adversity in a spirited and resilient manner. It is a great skill to have for athletics and for life, but it is not something we are born with. If you want it, you have to forge your mettle. And if you listen to the Mental Mettle podcast, you already know that, but not everybody else does yet. So help me out by ordering and wearing some sweet The Mental Mettle podcast gear. We've got short sleeve tees, long sleeve tees, and some super comfortable hoodies. Order online today and you can have your gear in no time. But the best part is that every order helps support the show and helps me spread the message that mental toughness is a trait that can and should be built. So find the link in the show notes, order your gear, and start showing that you know how to forge your mettle. Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode as much as I did. And a shout out to my brother, Andy. He listens every Monday as soon as it comes out. And I'm sure he'll be thrilled to hear this episode with his son on here and just how well Casey did, how good of a job he's done with what he's given. The kid has some crazy genetic gifts, and he's just amplifying those gifts and just being a great kid, working super hard, working on his physical, working on his leadership, working on his mental abilities. And I think the sky's the limit for that kid, wherever he ends up going. And there's a lot of people that want him. Whoever gets him is going to be really, get a really good kid, just because he's going to work hard and he gets it right. So, just so many things from that interview that I didn't, that he kind of brought up that I didn't prompt him anything. Like when he was talking about being a 3-sport athlete, I knew that. And he used to play baseball and he doesn't anymore because he's really liking track. But I love how he said it, that he understands that he's not going to continue to play basketball in college. He's probably not going to continue to do shot or disc much beyond high school, but it wasn't like that means that why bother? Like he saw them for what they were worth. He saw basketball as a way for him to get better, because he knew that Coach Flanagan, if you want to hear Coach Flanagan talk, he's one of my early on podcasts episodes. He runs a really tough practice, a really tough organization, and his kids come out tougher, mentally tough, and he knows that playing basketball, in addition to the physical abilities it's going to give him, helps him on that mental side and helps him prepare for life, for Division I football, things like that. And then I love how he saw that track being a very solo sport, or the shot and discus meant that he had to be okay with it being just him, and taking on that pressure and learning that practice that solo sport where it's all on you. And I think that's anytime I work with an athlete that's got that solo sport, like a runner, a thrower, somebody who does wrestling, things like this, it's a little different when there's nobody else to lean on. And he sees that, for a 16-year-old kid to see that and understand that, it's great. So even though he's going to go on and play football in college, he understands the benefits of these other sports, even though they're not like his quote unquote meal ticket. And if you're not going to be a Division I athlete, if your kid's not going to be a Division I athlete, that doesn't mean it doesn't matter. You see what the benefit is for that sport. There are so many benefits for playing a sport. And it's not about a scholarship. It's about learning these life lessons. And I think we have to remember that. And if your kid is struggling with anxiety, struggling with the toughness of a sport, struggling with confidence, things like that, you need to try to get a handle on that, because if they're struggling with those things in a sport, they're probably going to struggle with those things when they become an adult and, start adulting. So the sooner you can help them learn how to deal with adverse situations with the right tools, the better off they're going to be. So that's a long way to say that athletics have a purpose more than just wins and losses and scholarships. And Casey is getting the wins and probably going to get the scholarship for football, but he still understands the benefits that athletics have in the sports that he's not getting a scholarship in, which is just, again, I see it's a very mature idea. It's a great kid, been raised right, understands these things, and that's just fantastic. And I love that. And I love how he's taking these coaching tools and knows that this idea, this embodiment, how important that is to him, and how important that visualization is to him, and how he applies it to so many things. And for him to understand, he said, there's a lot of maturity there for him to say, hey, I know I struggle with not knowing what's going to happen and getting a little bit tense when I'm like, he recognizes that he gets tense going to a new place, a new situation, and it makes him feel a little anxious. Like, for him to admit that here and say that and say, but then to admit that and be vulnerable, but then understand I have tools to deal with that, man, I'm so proud of him. Like, I love watching his highlights and watching his games and pancaking kids and absolutely destroying, people off the line and things like that. And of course, that's the things. But what I'm really proud of what the pride I have for him in those things is how he's handling that mental side of things and opening up and getting in touch with his emotions and the mentality and understanding how that's going to help him. That's just a great life skill, and I think it's great. And I'm going to say it again. Casey he's a great commercial for me. If you see the way he's operating, the way he's handling things, and you're like, I really enjoy the way he's doing that. And you're like, if you think possibly it's something that could help one of your kids, one of your athletes, it probably can. And all you got to do is, get a hold of me. Contact me. I can explain to you what it is, and we can run through the process and how the coaching works. But I think at the end of the day, what you need to realize is that, I do this for a living. It does, I charge for it, and it does cost some money to do this. It's not for free, but it's For you to do this as the parent or as the coach that's hired me to do this, what you're paying for is that confidence and that belief and that emotional and mental stability in your athlete that is like, I don't want to, like, it is, it's invaluable, right? It is, what you get out of this coaching is worth so much more than what the time and money you put into it. You get so much more of it. And I get that from my clients all the time, that they can just, it helps their kid understand things in situations better. And that's, again, Casey was just a great example of that. And I love how he's handling it, and he did such a great job. So just been a great episode. And don't forget, next week, another offensive lineman that I've worked with, Guedet, great kid, another great kid to listen to, and some of the grit he has and how hard he's worked into you'll find out his 6th year of college football, which is a lot of time. Great kid. And then in a couple weeks, Jack Cornell of Quincy, Notre Dame, the 3rd offensive lineman I'm going to interview. So really good series. Loved this episode. Casey was great. And as always, this has been the Mental Mettle Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Matt Thomann, and always remember to forge your metal.
Thanks again for listening to the Mental Mettle Podcast, produced by Coraggio Media, sponsored by QuickCut, a video management platform for every level of play, and by Mental Mettle Coaching, helping athletes learn to face adversity in a spirited and resilient way. The Mental Mettle Podcast is created each week to help players develop more mental toughness, and that is something that will help all of us. So help me out and like and share the Mental Mettle Podcast with your friends. Until next time, keep forging your metal.